My name is Nathan Goins with the Lexington Court Reporters Group, a member of the National Court Reporters Association. My business address is 606 West Main Street, Suite 130, Lexington, Kentucky 40502. This deposition is taking place on March 9th at 8 p.m. in room 228 at the University of Kentucky College of Law for the case of Monroe versus Derek Dawson and Copymaster Incorporation. Before I swear in the deponent, would each person present please state his or her identity for the camera? Nathan Goins with the defendant.
Sarah Tipton for the defendant.
Ryan Stith for the defendant.
Eric Bronco for the plaintiff.
Nick Hamming for the plaintiff.
Tyler Mashton for the plaintiff.
At this time, I'd like to swear in the deponent. Mr. Dawson, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may proceed.
Right, as you've already heard, my name's Eric Bronco. I represent Ms. Monroe in this matter. A couple of just ground rules we have to go over before we start. I don't like to ask this question, but you haven't taken any drugs or alcohol before this?
No, sir.
All right, good. We need to be sure to give clear verbal answers. No shaking your head, no uh-huh, no thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Just yes, no, clear answers so that the record is straight and the court reporter can take it down and it's not ambiguous, okay?
Okay.
Also, my questions might aggravate you a little bit and you'll want to kind of interject, but please don't do that. It's really just for the benefit of the reporter again, because it's very hard to keep a straight record when people talk over each other. So if you wait until I'm finished with my questions, I'll wait until you're finished with your answers, okay?
Okay.
If you don't understand a question, just ask and I'll try and rephrase it. If you need a break, just ask. And remember that you're under oath. The same honesty requirements apply as if you were on the witness stand, okay?
Okay.
All right, could you state your name for the record?
Derek Dawson,
All right, and how old are you?
I'm 44,
All right, how long have you worked at Copymaster Corporation?
14 years.
And what is your position in Copymaster?
I'm a regional sales manager.
How many employees are under you, would you say?
Roughly, I'd say around 20.
Okay. Have you ever dated any of your employees at Copymaster?
I had a brief affair with one,
Okay, what was her name?
Peg Mead.
All right, thank you. What was your initial contact with Miss Monroe?
She was one of my employees. She came in with everybody else.
Okay. What date did you hire her, if you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. Would it be about January 2009?
Yeah, around there.
Okay. What were you involved in hiring her?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if you ran background checks?
Yes, we do. We run background
Okay.
checks.
And did hers come back clean?
It did.
Okay. Did you call any of her references?
I did.
Okay. And how did those turn out?
They were all outstanding.
Okay. Great. Did she provide you with a resume?
She did.
Was this resume acceptable for the position?
It was.
Okay. Were you the only person involved in hiring Miss Monroe?
No, the human resource manager.
Okay. What, do you remember his name or her name?
Yeah, Pat Spiller.
Okay. Do you know if they had an opinion of Miss Monroe?
Yes, it was, both of our opinions, initial opinions were very good of her.
Okay. All right. And do you think you have a good eye for people who are going to make good employees?
I think so.
Okay. Can you tell us more about the opinion you formed of Miss Monroe when you hired her?
Well, when she came in, she was very upbeat. She seemed like she'd be a great addition to the team. She seemed like she was a team player. Her attitude was very upbeat, so I seen nothing but positivity.
Okay. So she was qualified for the job?
Very.
Okay. Did you find her attractive?
I didn't really look at her that way.
Okay. Did you think Miss Monroe was attractive to you when you initially interviewed her?
That was not my initial reaction. I didn't think so.
Okay. I'd like to move to April 15th, where you've given, I have here a performance review. I think this is her first performance review. And now, let's just put this in the record as Exhibit 1. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
Okay, that's something you produced.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, how would you describe her performance in your own words as of this date?
Do you need a minute to read that?
Well,
Because I know you made that a long time ago.
well, she, well, she showed a lot of promise, but her initial numbers were not that good. Even though they continued to grow month to month, they were still a lot lower than the other employees.
Okay. So, out of the people you hire at Copymaster, just in your experience as a manager, is this fairly average for a new employee in her position?
Pretty much.
Okay. I'd like to ask you about an incident on this date. Did you ever tell Ms. Monroe at or around the time of this review that you were looking forward to seeing her real talents?
I don't remember if I said it or not. I don't think I did.
Okay. Do you know why she would say that you said that?
Maybe I did. If I did, she probably took it the wrong way.
Okay. All right. I'd like to move a little forward. Do you remember Miss Monroe inviting you to a dinner party at her house?
I do.
Okay. Do you remember around what date that was?
Not really.
Okay. Did she tell you what the purpose of this party was for?
She may have, but I can't recall.
Okay. Was anybody else invited to the party besides you?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you attend the party?
I did.
Why not?
I just didn't feel it was appropriate to mix, business with, extracurricular activities.
Okay. So, did Miss Monroe offer you a rain check, or did you ask for a rain check for this dinner party?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Do you remember putting your arm around Miss Monroe in the hallway when discussing this dinner party?
I do not.
Okay. I would like to move now to the second performance review. This one's dated June 16, 2009. Could you tell me if this is still an average review for somebody who, I guess, has just completed the probationary period at Copymaster?
Can you define average?
Just in his experience as a manager, just how would you compare to all the other employees you've seen? Is this average, below average, above?
This is a little below average.
Okay, and why is that?
Because usually the people that we bring in show a lot of initiative, and they usually put forth more of an effort.
Okay. Did you offer Miss Monroe any help?
Numerous times. I told her that if she needed any coaching or advice, that I was there to help.
Okay. Shortly after this, do you remember asking Miss Monroe to a bar?
No.
You don't remember going to a bar to discuss her performance?
I can't recall.
Okay. So you don't remember going to a bar, just to be clear, I want this on the record. You don't remember going to a bar to talk to Miss Monroe about her performance where you mentioned that you would help her?
I don't recall inviting her to a bar, if that's what you're asking.
Did you ever meet her at a bar?
She may have came in while I was there.
Okay. Do you remember when this might have been?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So you don't remember any conversation with her at a bar?
I don't.
Okay. Do you feel like you had a close relationship with Monroe when she worked there?
Not really.
Okay. Did you think that was maybe because your conduct made her feel uncomfortable?
No. I just, I felt we had a typical employer-employee relationship.
Okay. Did you ever know if Miss Monroe complained about your behavior to anyone?
Not to my knowledge.
You don't remember receiving a report from HR about your behavior during a meeting at a bar with Miss Monroe?
Before we clarify, was this a private exchange or was this this holiday party that?
No, we're not talking about the holiday party.
Okay.
I don't recall this incident at all.
Okay. You don't remember telling her at any meeting, at any time, that if she dressed more appropriately, she could boost her sales?
No,
So you deny that you said that?
I do.
Okay. How did Monroe typically dress in the office?
She dressed appropriately.
Okay. So, all right. Was it any different than other female employees?
No, no, not really. Her body language was suggestive at times.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, she was a bit on the flirtatious side.
Okay. So when did this happen? You stated earlier that initially you didn't think she was being flirtatious. So around what time did you think she began to become?
Objection, when did he say she wasn't flirtatious?
I asked him the question earlier. Did you think that she was flirting with you, or did you think she was attracted to you?
It was during the initial hiring process.
Right.
I think you said attracted, I don't think you said flirtatious.
Okay.
Can you restate that
Was she
question?
flirtatious when you initially hired her?
She was not.
Okay. So when did she become flirtatious?
We had a few conversations around the office, and it just things that she would say and her body language at times. She was a bit flirtatious.
Okay. Did you ever tell Monroe that you could call her day or night?
That I could call her, or she could
Or
call
she
me.
could call you, excuse me.
I tell all my employees that.
Okay. Do you remember when you would have told her that?
Probably during one of her reviews.
Okay. So, do all your reviews happen in the office? Do you conduct formal reviews in the office?
Yes, they all happen in the office.
Okay, do you conduct any informal reviews?
I don't understand the question.
Other than the reviews you conduct in the office where you mark sheets like this that go
Right.
into a personnel file, do you ever offer to, I guess, mentor or give informal performance reviews or advice at any other time?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Okay,
That was a compound question, I have to object to that.
Okay.
Do you just mean sit-down conversations where he will give advice, or do you mean like while they're working he can give advice?
I don't understand what you mean.
Now, when you say review, informal review, it means like, to me, it sounds like a sit-down meeting.
Well, I'm talking about like, does he ever invite people outside of the office
Yes.
to have a review?
You mean like
Outside of the office, you said?
Right.
you mean like invite them to like say dinner or have drinks or something to give them a review?
Anything like that, dinner, drinks, coffee, anywhere outside the office?
No,
Okay. But you said you do give them advice.
all the time.
Okay. Did you ever give Monroe advice, informal advice?
Yeah, I gave her advice all the time because her sales were not where they should be.
Okay. So, did you ever have any contact with the HR rep about your behavior with Monroe?
Can you clarify?
Did the HR rep?
Can you clarify before or after her complaint?
I'm asking the first complaint, which he denies the incident ever happened, but there is documentation that it happened, that HR had talked to him or had taken care of an incident at a bar. I'm asking, did he ever receive a report from HR?
Did you receive any reports?
Before or after her complaint?
After.
I did.
Okay. And do you know what those were in reference to?
From what she said, my behavior at the Christmas party.
Okay. All right. Can you tell us when the Christmas party was?
I think it was the 23rd of December.
Okay. When did you arrive at the Christmas party?
You mean around what time?
Yeah.
Maybe 9 or 10 or something.
Okay. Did you have any drinks?
I had a couple while I was there.
Okay. Would you consider yourself drunk?
Not at all.
Okay. Who else attended the Christmas party?
Everybody did.
Okay. Did Monroe attend?
She did.
Okay. Did you talk to Monroe at the party?
I did.
Were you physically close to Monroe at any time during the party?
Not in a suggestive way. I mean, it was a crowded party, so I mean, I may have brushed up against her, but I brushed up against a lot of people. It was crowded.
Okay. Did you ever talk to her at the party?
Yes, I talked to all my employees. I made it a point to go say hello to all my employees.
Okay. What did you two talk about?
Well, we didn't have like an extensive conversation. It was pretty much, hey, how you doing?
Okay. Did you ever put your hand on her butt at the party?
I did not.
Do you know why she would say that you did?
I have no idea.
Did you ever tell her that you would help her photocopy her body?
Never.
Do you know why she would allege that?
I do not.
Did you tell her that she could get her career on track starting tonight at the Christmas party?
No.
Did anybody see you talking to Monroe at the party?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Okay. Anybody in particular?
No, no one I can think
Objection,
of.
that's pretty broad. I mean, there was a lot of people.
All right, I'll move on. How long did you talk to her at the party?
Not long.
Okay. Did she seem upset or angry after you talked to her?
She did not.
Do you know where she went after you talked to her?
I do not.
Okay. I'm going to move on to her final performance review, which is dated January 15, 2010. This is 1 year after she was hired. Would you describe this as above, below, or average for employees who've been a copy master in her position for 1 year?
Below.
Okay, why is that?
Because she was not showing initiative and she was not a team player at all. And her sales were very low.
Okay. So, is it fair to say that her sales are the main thing that changed between this review and her previous review? They had dropped?
Yes.
Okay. Did you bring up your concerns about her sales between these two performance reviews with Monroe?
I did.
Okay. And when was this?
There was a time at the office, I had to come in and we talked about her sales and her overall initiative.
Okay. Have Monroe's sales grown every quarter since her probationary period has ended?
They have, but they were always a lot lower than the other employees.
Okay. So, do you know who her largest client was?
I do not.
Did she have a large client though?
I'm pretty sure she did.
Did that client go bankrupt?
If I can remember correctly, I think he did.
Okay. Are employees normally penalized for the financial woes of their clients?
No.
Okay. Did Monroe bring up that her largest client went bankrupt during this review?
She may have. I think she did.
Okay. Can you explain why you didn't take this into account in her performance review?
I just didn't feel it needed to be noted that her client went bankrupt.
Even though on this sheet it says, supervisor should summarize how employee performed in terms of quantity, quality, and timeliness of work. Consider and note factors beyond the employee's control. Would a bankruptcy be beyond an employee's control?
It would.
Okay. Did you tell her that she was dangling by a thread in this performance review? Verbally?
I may have.
Okay. Are employees with similar records to hers, are they dangling by threads?
Yes.
Okay. Even though that this is pretty much one slightly below average performance review,
What's the question?
are employees who have an employee record like this, which you described her initial review as average, and this one is a 2, which is work is deficient, all of those employees are dangling by a thread.
Well, I mean, yeah. If you don't work to your potential, then pretty much anywhere, like even with you, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then whoever your supervisor is, they're probably gonna think about replacing you.
All right. Did you tell her that she would have been gone long ago if you hadn't gone to bat with her for the VP of sales?
I probably did.
Okay. Do you know what his problem was with her?
I do not.
But you normally listen to your vice president?
I do.
Objection, man, come on. He doesn't know what the vice president's problem is.
But I'm allowed to ask it.
Okay. You can answer these questions even though you don't respect the vice president about these problems.
Do you normally go to bat for employees with the vice president?
I do.
Okay. Do you also tell her that she would have never been hired in the first place if it wasn't for you?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay. Did you ever tell Monroe that she might want to reconsider whether she was finally willing to play ball with you at this review?
No, I didn't.
Did you ever get up and put your hands on her shoulders?
I did at the end of the review.
Okay. Did she seem uncomfortable when you did this?
No. I touched her shoulder to console her because she was visibly upset at her review.
Okay. All right. How was her performance after this review, but before she was terminated?
It was terrible.
Okay. After this final performance review, this one, dated January 15th, did you receive any correspondence from Human Resources?
Can you clarify that?
Did he receive any communication, written or verbal, from the Human Resources Department at Copymaster?
He's a manager. He's going to get correspondence from HR every day.
Was it in relation to Monroe?
Yes.
Okay. When was it?
It was not long after this review,
Okay. What was it about?
her performance.
Okay. Did she make any allegations against you in that HR report?
Yes, she did.
Do you remember what they were?
There was something about something that happened at the Christmas party.
Okay. Do you remember specifically her allegations?
That I put my hand on her buttocks, I guess.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Did you ever talk to Monroe about this HR report?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So, she was fired on February 17. The reason you gave her in the termination, which I believe I have a copy of. Do you have a copy of it?
There's one here somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, I have it right here. Were that her performance was poor and she failed to obey work rules, correct?
Correct.
All right. What rules did she break?
Well, well, for one, she ran up a very large, long distance phone bill for personal calls,
Okay.
and she left work early to drink on company time.
Okay. Did she repay the company for the long distance calls?
She did not.
I believe we have a document that shows that she did. Do you have a copy of that?
We don't have a receipt. We have an email that says that she would pay.
Okay. So your testimony is that she never paid the company?
Well, she did pay him.
Okay.
He wouldn't be aware of that she paid the company.
Okay. Are you aware of if she paid the company or not?
I'm not.
Okay. Is this a major or minor infraction?
Minor.
Okay. For signing out, she didn't sign out for lunch one day, right? Around lunchtime?
Correct.
But she was signed in by her secretary?
Correct.
Okay. How long after she was gone did the secretary sign?
Like 3 or 4 hours later.
Okay. Are people normally fired for this?
For what?
Signing out late?
Well, she left to go drink on the job, so.
How did you know she left to go to a bar?
Well, her secretary had said that she had left for the day.
Okay. And you assumed it was to go to a bar?
No, I didn't, but I mean, it was documented that that's what she had done.
Okay. Do you normally monitor the sign-out sheet or grill employees on why they've taken sick days?
No, I don't.
Okay, why did you feel it was necessary to find out why Monroe had left for the day?
Because she hadn't signed out.
Okay, so Monroe leaves at noon, and within that span of time between Monroe leaving and the secretary signing her in, you had picked up the sign-out sheet and noticed that she was gone and not signed out.
Asked and answered.
Answer it.
He already answered.
I believe he has to answer it according to the
He
rules.
does. He didn't answer.
Yes.
Okay. So you had found out she went to the bar. How exactly?
I can't remember.
Okay. Do people sometimes use sick days for personal use throughout Copymaster?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay. The company, as you said, doesn't normally investigate what sick days are used for.
Correct.
Okay. Would it be possible that some people use them when they're under extreme emotional distress?
They could.
Okay. Is it normally a fireable offense? Is it normally a fireable offense if you leave without signing out?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna just ask you about some miscellaneous incidents. Did you ever at any time make any comments about Melissa Monroe's breasts?
I did not.
Did you ever comment on her perfume?
No.
Okay. Did you ever ask her if she was getting any or any other similar language?
Definitely not.
Okay, and I want to clear something up. Just so it's straight in the record, because I believe we've kind of crisscrossed over it. You're saying that, for the record, under penalty of perjury, that you never met with Melissa Monroe outside of work at a bar, restaurant, or other type of eating establishment for any reason?
Well, I may have. Like I said, I may have been at a bar and she may have came in.
Okay, so can you remember any specific incidents where that happened?
Around the time she first started, me and some colleagues was out there. I think her and a couple co-workers came in.
Okay. And did you talk to her at this meeting or gathering?
Of course,
Okay. What did you discuss with her?
just her work performance.
Such as?
Just told her to show more initiative, and if she needed any advice or anything, that I was willing to help.
Okay. At this meeting, did you ever tell her that you thought she was hot?
No,
Did you ever touch her thigh at this meeting?
no.
Okay. I believe that's about all I have.
All right. All right, Derek, I just have a few questions for you. We'll probably go over a few similar things that you've already discussed with Eric here. But, so, at the beginning, he asked you if you'd had a relationship with someone. Did that person work underneath you? Was that a person that responded to you?
Yes.
All right. Okay, well, what is your position again?
Regional sales manager.
And what kind of things do you look for? Like, what does that job entail?
I watch over my employees, make sure they're doing their job and meeting the sales requirements.
All right. And what kind of qualities do you look for in somebody that works for you?
Initiative, positive attitude, willing to be a team player.
Okay. And in order to make sure they're working appropriately and, meeting those standards, do you give them reviews? We've talked about several reviews already, but do you do that with every employee?
I do.
All right, and we've talked about a couple of these reviews already, and it sounded like they were in a pretty common trend. So just to ask again, during her employment, how did Miss Monroe perform compared to her coworkers?
She was below average.
What do you mean by that?
Well, she started off with a lot of potential, but she never fully blossomed into what I think she could have become, and her knowledge of the products was not that great,
And did you tell her this?
I did.
And did you ever give her any other advice?
I told her she needed to show more initiative.
Okay. And we heard about a bankruptcy earlier. Now, I understand that could definitely affect, sales, but did she ever do anything to compensate for this bankrupt client to initiate more sales? Did she ever do anything to compensate for this?
I can't remember.
Did she ever accept any of your advice?
No.
And throughout her probationary period and after that, did her performance improve at all?
Well, her numbers went up, but they were still a lot lower in comparison to the other employees.
Okay. And did this have effect on her termination?
It did.
And were there any other things, any other rules that she broke that led to this decision?
Yes, the long distance calls, and she left work and she had been drinking on the clock.
Okay. And we were discussing earlier this relationship you had with another employee. Do you remember the name of that employee?
Peg me.
Okay. And do you know if she was with Melissa Monroe on the day of the event of her termination?
I can't remember.
The day that she left early and was drinking on the clock?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So, aside from issues involving your management, how would you describe your relationship with your employees?
I think it's pretty good. I try to be on the up and up with everybody, and I try to keep a positive attitude in the office to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, because, you know, they make money, I make money, so I would want them to, you know, pretty much, you know, stay positive.
Okay, so when you noticed that Miss Monroe was performing poorly, did you try to encourage her to, you know, did you try to give her advice?
Yes, numerous times.
And how was her response?
She got offended.
Okay.
She didn't feel like she needed it, and she got offended.
Okay. Well, aside from just pure performance, how would you describe her conduct in the office, especially towards you?
It was a bit flirtatious.
Do you have any specific examples where you could describe that, or just in general?
There were several times around the office when she was very, I want to say, seductive with her body language, and just in general conversation, she would, you know, be flirtatious with, you know, things she would say.
Okay. And outside of the office, did you notice any of this behavior?
I wasn't around her outside the office.
Okay. Opposing counsel asked you about several events outside the office at other bars. The only thing we have on record is this holiday party we're speaking about. Can you describe the environment at this holiday party?
It was loud when people were drinking. I mean, it was a party.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people there. I mean, and did you speak to a lot of people there? Did you speak to a few individuals?
I spoke to a lot of people.
Okay. Do you remember any of these particular events that you were asked about earlier? These specific events?
No.
Okay. Do you think someone else would have seen you if you did any of those things other than Miss Monroe?
If it happened, I'm pretty sure, yes.
Okay. After this party, did you have any other encounters with Miss Monroe?
Yes, at her final review.
Okay. And anything outside of work after that?
No.
And what about after that review? Did you hear anything from Miss Monroe?
No.
Okay. So just to reiterate, what was your reason for terminating her employment?
Her overall performance, her lack of sales, and she was drinking on the clock.
Okay. All right. I think that's all I've got for now.
I just have a couple more. You said she's drinking on the clock. She took a sick day, a half sick day that day, correct?
Correct.
So she ended up giving up the sick day to go home. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
All right. Also, you said that she was flirtatious towards you.
Yes.
Did you ever contact HR about any of that?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Because I didn't think that it was I thought it was harmless.
Okay, so even though it's a violation of the company handbook, you didn't think you
I-
could take the HR and just get it straightened out?
Yeah, I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was serious enough for me to contact HR.
Okay. All right, I think that's all I have.